It was a quiet Sunday evening in 1987 when something truly bizarre happened in the small town of Willow Creek, California. A man named Jack disappeared without a trace while taking an evening stroll through the woods near his home. Days later, his body was found. But what made it so unsettling wasn't just how far he had traveled from where he vanished. It was the condition of his remains and the lack of answers surrounding his death. His clothes were intact, yet his body bore signs of trauma that no one could explain. Hi everyone, you're listening to Thousand Fragments, the moment no one saw, the memory no one kept. I'm bringing it back. Drop a comment below and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears. And let's begin. Willow Creek is nestled deep within the heart of Northern California, surrounded by dense forests and rolling hills. It's the kind of place where everyone knows each other and life moves at a slow pace. Jack lived here with his wife and 2 children in a modest home on Maple Street. To those who knew him, Jack was the epitome of normalcy, a hardworking father, a devoted husband, and someone who loved nothing more than exploring the wilderness nearby. On weekends, he often took long hikes through the trails, immersing himself in nature as a way to unwind from the stresses of daily life. But that evening in November 1987 would change everything for Jack and for the town he called home. The day began like any other. After dinner, Jack told his family he was going out for a quick walk before bed. He slipped into his favorite leather jacket, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped outside into the crisp autumn air. His wife waved goodbye, assuming he'd be back within an hour or so. But as the hours ticked by, worry crept in. By midnight, she realized something was wrong and called the sheriff's office. When deputies arrived, they quickly organized a search party consisting of neighbors, friends, and local volunteers. The forest was pitch black, illuminated only by flashlights and moonlight filtering through the canopy. Despite their best efforts, there was no sign of Jack. As days turned into weeks, theories swirled around the community. Some suggested foul play, perhaps Jack had stumbled upon something dangerous during his walk. Others believed he might have wandered off too far, disoriented in the dark. But none of these explanations seemed plausible once his body was discovered nearly 3 miles away from where he disappeared. What shocked investigators even more was the state of his remains. His clothing remained undisturbed, but his body showed clear signs of physical violence, broken bones, bruising, and cuts that didn't match typical wildlife attacks. It was as if whoever or whatever took Jack wanted to leave behind cryptic clues rather than definitive answers. Let's rewind to understand the man behind the mystery. Jack was a well-liked figure in Willow Creek, known for his calm demeanor and love for adventure. At 45 years old, he worked as a carpenter during the week, but spent most of his free time outdoors. Friends described him as physically fit, capable, and confident in the wilderness. Yet, despite his experience, Jack seemed unusually restless leading up to that fateful night. According to his wife, he mentioned feeling watched several times over the past few months, though he couldn't pinpoint why. She dismissed it as stress, attributing it to long hours at work and financial pressures. Little did she know, this feeling of being observed would soon become chillingly relevant. Back to the present. Investigators pored over evidence collected from the scene. Footprints matching Jack's boots were found leading away from the house, but after about half a mile, they abruptly stopped. There were no signs of struggle, no blood trails, nothing to indicate anything unusual until his body was discovered weeks later. One detail stood out above the rest, a strand of hair tangled in a bush near the trail. DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Jack, but further analysis revealed traces of an unknown substance embedded in the strands. Was this residue contamination? Or could it point towards something else entirely? Public fascination with the case grew exponentially thanks to burgeoning true crime podcasts and documentaries. Among them was Time's Whispers in the Woods*, hosted by investigative journalist Linda Hayes. Each episode combined archival footage, expert analysis, and newly uncovered evidence to paint a vivid picture of events surrounding that fateful night. Listeners became armchair detectives, debating theories ranging from elaborate hoaxes to tragic accidents. During one particularly heated discussion forum, a listener named Brian Carter posed a thought-provoking question. What if Jack wasn't taken by human hands? What if there's another explanation altogether? This theory sent shockwaves through the true crime community, drawing both admiration and skepticism. Fast forward to 2010, and advancements in forensic technology offered new hope. A team led by Dr. Emily Grant, a renowned forensic psychologist, revisited old evidence using cutting-edge techniques unavailable during the initial investigation. One breakthrough involved analyzing fibers found under Jack's fingernails. Results revealed microscopic particles resembling pollen, but originating from plants not native to California. These findings prompted renewed scrutiny of similar cases across the United States. Could Jack's disappearance represent part of a broader pattern? Investigators identified potential links to other unsolved disappearances in remote areas, sparking debates about supernatural phenomena or even extraterrestrial involvement. Meanwhile, public interest in Jack's story reached unprecedented levels. Social media platforms buzzed with theories, some credible, others far-fetched, yet all contributing to a global conversation about justice and accountability. Facebook groups dedicated to discussing leads attracted thousands of members worldwide. Conversations ranged from speculative musings to well-researched arguments supported by data. One member, Amanda Grant, gained prominence when she identified similarities between Jack's case and other mysterious deaths involving individuals found miles away from their last known location. Her findings prompted authorities to explore connections previously dismissed as coincidental. Are we looking at copycat crimes? Or does this suggest something larger? In 2013, a former neighbor came forward, claiming to recall suspicious activity near Jack's home days before his disappearance. Though vague, these recollections sparked new lines of inquiry. Detectives revisited old statements, searching for overlooked details that might connect dots unseen before. Every little piece matters, insisted Detective James Peterson during another late-night session reviewing files stacked high around his desk. By 2020, social media played increasingly vital roles in disseminating information related to the case. Twitter threads dissected evidence, Reddit forums debated theories, and YouTube channels uploaded videos piecing together fragments of the puzzle. Then came the twist. Forensic genealogy techniques identified a distant relative linked to DNA profiles discovered at the crime scene years earlier. Investigators raced to interview the individual, uncovering surprising ties to Willow Creek during the mid-1980 seconds. While circumstantial, the connection provided tantalizing possibilities worth pursuing. "We're closer than ever before," declared James during a press conference held amidst heightened tension. Cameras flashed as reporters clamored for answers, underscoring the significance of this development. Yet, despite these advances, fundamental questions remained unanswered. Why did Jack travel so far into the wilderness? How did he end up miles away from his starting point without leaving any discernible trail? And perhaps most hauntingly, what role, if any, did the town itself play in his demise? The atmosphere shifted dramatically as public interest in the case grew once again. Online forums buzzed with discussions, piecing together clues and debating theories. Social media campaigns reached millions, reminding the world of Jack's story and the importance of vigilance. What really happened to Jack? Is he still alive somewhere, waiting to be found? Or did some cruel twist of fate claim his life that fateful evening? These questions lingered like shadows over Willow Creek, casting doubt and despair over the hearts of those who cared. By 2023, significant progress had been made in identifying previously unknown victims connected to similar cases. Advances in forensic anthropology enabled analysis of skeletal remains discovered near remote locations frequented by hikers and campers. Each identification brought closure to grieving families, while simultaneously deepening society's collective unease about the extent of such crimes. Public memorials erected in honor of victims served dual purposes, commemorating lives lost and warning future generations against falling prey to similar ideologies. Throughout these developments, Emily maintained a complex relationship with her subject matter. On one hand, she felt driven by professional curiosity and moral obligation to uncover truths buried beneath layers of myth and misinformation. On the other hand, she grappled with personal demons triggered by immersing herself so deeply in darkness. How do you study something so monstrous without letting it consume you? She mused during a rare moment of reflection. Her efforts culminated in a comprehensive book published in late 2023 titled Times Beneath the Canopy, Understanding Unsolved Mysteries in Rural America, **. The manuscript combined historical research, contemporary analysis, and first-hand accounts to create the most complete picture of Jack's life and disappearance ever assembled. It resonated strongly with readers, sparking widespread discussions about mental health, criminal justice reform, and the nature of evil itself. Yet, despite all the revelations and advancements, fundamental questions remain unanswered. What exactly caused Jack to become who he was? Can anyone fully comprehend the depths of such depravity or the circumstances surrounding his death? And perhaps most importantly, how do we prevent future generations from producing similar tragedies? These queries weigh heavily over the conclusion of our narrative, reminding us that while much has been learned since Jack's time, much remains mysterious. For every answer uncovered, new mysteries arise. As Emily puts it poignantly during a final interview, we may never fully understand Jack or anyone like him, but understanding ourselves better might help stop others from following in his footsteps. So, as we close this chapter of exploration into one man's descent into chaos, let us also consider what lessons it holds for humanity moving forward. Because only by confronting our darkest fears can we hope to illuminate paths toward light and redemption. Or will the shadows always hold sway, reminding us of the limits of human understanding? Now, imagine yourself walking through your neighborhood after hearing this tale. Who knows what secrets lie beneath the surface? And remember, while stories like Jack's may terrify us, they also remind us of our capacity to overcome adversity. Because in the end, it isn't the darkness that defines us, it's how we choose to respond to it. Do you believe the case will ever be fully solved? Or does its identity remain forever shrouded in darkness? As we ponder these questions, let us remember the life touched and tragically ended by this horrific act. Because only by honoring his memory can we hope to move forward, armed with knowledge and fortified by compassion. And that was another story lost in time. But stay with me, because there's still more waiting in the shadows. What do you think happened to Jack? Let me know in the comments below. Your thoughts matter, and they shape the stories I share next. So go ahead, type it out, and hit send. I'll see you there.